What's going on, everybody? It's your boy C-Zar, and we are talking about Ethereum today. It is the 13th day of December, and here we are sitting at about $3,100 with 5 hours and 39 minutes left in the day. Hit that like button, subscribe if you want to see more content like this, and let's get into it, my friends. Ethereum having a bit more of a productive reaction from the lows on November 21st than Bitcoin is having, which is nice to see. Actually, I haven't looked at this in a second. What's ETH BTC doing? Let's check this out real quick. Yeah, so ETH BTC effectively put in a cumulative range here, a sideways kind of horizontal channel. You broke out of that and have back tested now for support. That's what we're doing. So we've pulled back tested, found support at prior resistance. I think we're ready to move higher. Versus Bitcoin, and Ethereum growing versus Bitcoin typically promotes a strong altcoin market. And looking at this on the daily time frame, again, this is the ETH BTC price, not the US dollar price. So this is priced in Bitcoins. It has nothing to do. It's not that it has nothing to do with the dollar, but it's not. That's not the main focus. The focus here is that we have a higher low, higher high trajectory, and we are right at the point where you would expect to find the low. Both as a higher low in this kind of format here, but also just finding support at the 50, an area that you consistently found resistance at really time and time again, and support at back here. It's a very significant level, especially on the daily time frame. I think we're right at a point where we're going to bounce ETH versus BTC. What's interesting here is that ETH BTC looking like it's going to bounce here. It's Saturday. It's Saturday. And I think when we bounce here, I think we're going to consistently move up more or less as time goes on. I mean, the last time that we moved up, let's just see. You know, the last couple of moments we moved up here, we moved up. We had a 2-day move. We moved up about 6% versus Bitcoin. Here, whenever we found our next higher low, we moved up. It was about a 2-day move, and it was a 7.5% move versus Bitcoin. Here, we moved up. That wasn't necessarily a higher low. It was a higher low here, but it wasn't a higher low in like this trajectory. But still, we can measure that move nonetheless. And that move was, again, another like 2-day move, 11.4%. So we might 6%, 7%, 11.4%. It's getting bigger. Does that mean that this next move will be bigger than the last move? I don't know. I'm not calling for that necessarily, but 6% would give us a double top versus Bitcoin. 7% would give us a double top versus Bitcoin. We need something that's either 11% or more, probably something bigger, to continue this trend to the upside. And just thinking out loud here, looking at the RSI, we haven't really gotten into the overbought zone yet. Okay. Yeah. We had a taste. That's a rejection. That doesn't technically count. I mean, it counts, but it doesn't count. Did we get in there? Yes, but it was a rejection. I wouldn't count it, right? This is getting in. This is rejecting. It's not the same, and we'll go over that in a second. But you're in this bullish trend, okay? You broke out of your downtrend, turned it into a sideways trend, turned that into an upwards trend. It's perfect. It's literally perfect, actually, from a structural standpoint. And we haven't even gotten overbought yet, okay? We haven't gotten overbought yet. The last time that we did stuff like this, and we did not have a downtrend that turned sideways and then up. It just went down and then up. But still, we had a nice uptrend here. We got overbought. We hit the overbought zone. And that was nice. That was fun, right? We pulled back. We found support at our higher low, whatever. But once we actually got into the overbought zone, do you see the difference here? Right? Do you see the difference in price action? What's taking place, right? Right? You get overbought. Here you're on the come down. You're on the cool off, right? But then you get back in the overbought zone again. You see how much more vibrant the price action is when you're in the overbought zone versus just these little rejection points. We had a little rejection point. I would literally compare, and we are comparing this moment with this moment here. Now, does that mean Ethereum is about to do this? I wouldn't say so. I don't think that we're going to. I mean, we went from 2.5% of a Bitcoin to, what is that there? We like basically doubled in price. You almost doubled in price versus Bitcoin in a very short amount of time. I don't know if we're going to go on a run like that. Maybe we do. But I do think the main perspective that I'm trying to draw here is that relative to this movement, once you actually got overbought, this was a lot more robust. Relative to this movement, when we get overbought, we'll probably see something that's more robust and not just skyrocket through to new highs, but maybe. But at least something that will be a little bit more pronounced and a little bit more bullish over the coming days. It makes sense. And again, this is just ETH versus BTC. Stochastics bouncing right off the 50. MACD daily is crossing above the 0. All positive things. The weekly MACD is bullish. The stochastics are bullish as hell, actually. Wow, that's great. And the RSI has reset, bouncing at the 50, or sorry, the 40 area yet again. You bounced at the 40 area here last time as well. on a weekly and a daily time frame, these indicators are comparing exactly what we did back here to where we are now. You know, I've seen some other people compare, and I say other people, other technical analysts in the space on X.com, on YouTube. I've seen a couple people actually compare what we're doing here with what we did back here. And maybe we are, maybe we aren't, but now we're on the US dollar pair. This is the Ethereum US dollar pair. What we have done, regardless if we're doing the same thing here as we did back here or not, that's up for debate. What we have done is we have found support at prior resistance. What we have done is we have pulled back from a low to a high all the way down to our 0.5 area, which a lot of cryptos this whole cycle since 2023, even late 2022, have found resistance at their 0.5 and support at their 0.5 consistently throughout the cycle. Bitcoin, Ethereum, Solana, you name it, they all do for whatever reason. It's a very hefty pullback too. On top of that, we look at this from a high to a low. I mean, that right there, that's a 47% pullback. That's pretty standard in a bull market, guys. This is just like one drawn-out bull flag, is what. And it's not a bull flag. I wouldn't call it a bull flag. It stopped being a bull flag once you spilled over here. But still, there's some very bullish prospects to what we're doing here, and we're holding support. We're doing well. The RSI has reset. We're at the same low levels that we have been every single time that we're at a macro low in this cycle. We're at the same low levels. Stochastics have reset entirely, getting oversold. When we were oversold here, right? Oversold here. We're at the end of the bear market. Oversold here, you're at a higher low, and then you moved up. Whenever you were at this low, this macro low here, you were oversold. When you're at this macro low here, which inevitably provided a lower low, but still we went higher first, you were oversold. You were oversold. You were oversold. We're at a low point here. We are at a low point here. And since, let's just say, the end of 2023, the moves that we've seen from the low to the high of these low points, at a minimum, have been this. At a maximum, have been something a little bit more extreme. But any of them from this low point, any single one, would take us to new all-time highs. Understand? So understand what I just said there, right? And again, this was the smallest one. It would still take us up above here, which is new all-time highs. Right, that is new all-time highs, right? We don't have higher highs yet. That's new all-time highs. The smallest one since the end of 2023, right? Since the bull market really began. Not the bear market stuff, but since the end of the bull market. I mean, we could take the end of the bear market too, right here, like the very beginning bull market stuff. We can take that too, but I don't know if that's going to be as appropriate. Maybe it is. You know, since the very beginning of the bull market, from a low to a high. Look, no matter how we slice it. So look, what we just did, guys. What we just did. In case you missed it, let me spell it out for you very plainly here. What we just did was we took every move, this whole entire bull market since the bear market end of mid to late 2022. We've taken every move from a low to a high, what it meant when you were oversold in the stochastics, and then what you did from your low to your high point thereafter. Okay, once you went from oversold to overbought and you cooled off again, right? Because you didn't just move up nonstop forever. We measured that. Low to high there, low to high there, low to high here even, this very small one, low to high here. We haven't even measured that one out, right? The smallest range still takes us to new all-time highs. Every single time since 2023, the middle of 2022 even, that we've seen these oversold areas in the stochastics and the RSI combination. We're not oversold in the RSI, but we're in that area just like we were here, just like we were here, just like we were here with the oversold stochastics every single time. The minimum move that we've seen, if we were to replicate that over the past 3.5 years now, if we were to replicate the minimum move we've seen in these exact same conditions, would take us to new all-time highs. It's one hell of a bear market, you guys. It's one hell of a bear market where Ethereum's going to see new all-time highs, likely over the coming months. One hell of a bear market indeed, guys. It's not a bear market at all. Does that mean we're moving up right now? Probably not. No, probably not. But I mean, we consolidated here from May 5th. We didn't break out until July 7th. That's 2 months. We've been consolidating now for 4 weeks. We could consolidate another 4 weeks. And I've been saying this since November 21st, since the bottom, that we likely consolidate for 30 days to 60 days. It could be late December before we start to see some life in the markets. It could be even late January before we actually start to see life in the markets. It might be not until February that Ethereum is above this high, but it's happening. If the indicators are suggesting anything like they have over the past 3.5 years of Ethereum's existence, it's happening. It's happening, okay? We're at a perfect place to bounce here with the MACD. We're at a perfect place to continue to move up with the stochastics. In fact, the stochastics coming out of the oversold zone, once you get both the blue and the orange in the oversold zone and then out, that is a beautiful signal. It's a very reliable signal, typically, that the low is in. The orange line is just barely outside the oversold zone with a weekly close here or higher. As bearish as this weekly close looks, it's really not that bearish. It's about as bearish as this one was. And look at what happened 2 weeks later, you know? 1 hour time frame here. RSI looks sad. It looks very sad. Price action looks mechanical, very mechanical and manipulated. It's the weekend. There's probably not going to be a whole lot going on the weekend. We're probably going to be very boring, and that's okay. That's okay. In fact, the last time we were super sideways for a long time, not that we weren't super sideways here for a long time too, but a little bit more volatility here, right? But a lot less volatility here. Guess when that was? That was Friday after the stock market opened, or closed, I'm sorry, to, you guessed it, Sunday, until futures opened on Sunday, because futures, the stock market futures opens for Bitcoin and various other things, gold, commodities, on Sunday evening for Americans, right? Well, here we are during the weekend. It's Saturday right now. It's probably going to be boring until the end of tomorrow, until the end of the UTC day, right? And then we'll probably see some excitement again. I don't know. Are we going to go up or down from here? I don't know. Maybe we go down a little bit. Let's play with that, right? Let's play with this idea. What if we were to go down? What if your worst fears are realized and we go down? First and foremost, I don't believe we go lower than this low from November 21st. I think that that's Fugazi, or let's pretend we're in a world where that does happen. Guess what? If it does happen, it'll be swift, and the recovery will be just as swift. You'll blink, and it's done. As long as you're not leveraged, you're going to be fine. From a low here to a high there, you have broken below the 382. You are finding resistance at the 382. From a fib perspective and how the fibs guide me in my analysis, this, statistically speaking, is most probable to return to the 0.5 at least, and we already know how much we respect that level. This was a 0.5 retracement bounce right there, or at most, probably the golden ratio. 2,860, $3,020, somewhere in this area. That's where I think we're going to go, probably over the next day or two. I mean, maybe Sunday or Monday we could be down there. We could go as low as $2,800 and still be fine, but likely a higher low will be provided, and we will move up. We will continue to move up. That doesn't mean we're moving up through the stratosphere today, tomorrow, or the next day. Right? That doesn't mean that what we're looking at here on ETH BTC has to go through the roof right now. But it's going to happen. And you're probably finding a higher low here in which we're going to move up to the next level. Where's the next level? Well, using my eyes, I can see that once we get above this high, there's a point of resistance right here, a pretty serious point of resistance where we also found support at, we found resistance at right there, we found a little turbulence back here even, all right there at around $3,600 to $3,700. I mean, that makes sense to me. $3,600 to $3,700, don't tell me. Don't even tell me. Look at that. You'd be surprised to learn that at $3,600, that is our 0.5 retracement right there. Let alone $3,800, $3,900 to $4,000 is our golden ratio. So whether it's here, which is the most probable outcome, something right around here, probably just above the 0.5, or we beeline it all the way up to the golden ratio, I would expect before Christmas, Ethereum will be worth $3,600 or more. Before Christmas. It's the 13th now. And likely, unfortunately, going into the end of the month, the last 10 days of the month, maybe the last 5 days of the month, however long it is. But that last week, we're probably going to move back down. If it's from here, back to 36. If we're at 36, back to 33. We're probably going to move back down and start off January to the downside, but finish off January with a strong note. I really do think it could be January that we see new all-time highs with Ethereum. If not, maybe February. It could be February, and there's nothing wrong with that, right? We've gone over that perspective already. But I don't really have anything else to say. I hope you guys got jacked. I wasn't going to make... I was going to do this video with like standard TA in mind. But we went with the long-term stuff just for the fun of it. I don't know why. I went for the long-term stuff. We're looking at the weekly indicators, and we conclusively found there's no... This is not an opinion. This is not an opinion, what I have said and what I'm about to say now. This is a fact. This is not an opinion. You can't argue it because it's the truth. Okay? It's 100% irrefutable, evident truth. You cannot argue it. Every time the RSI has seen a low, let's say below 35, below the 40 level, whether it's oversold or just above the oversold zone. And at the same time, the stochastics have been oversold every single time since middle of 2022. We've been at a significant macro low. And if we measured from low to high of every single move we've seen in these exact environments, the minimum, the smallest move we've seen in that time would still take us to new all-time highs from here. Again, from this area, these indicators all tie up. What we're doing exactly now is exactly what we've done at every macro low since 2022, the middle of 2022. And I bet we can go back and find more information that looks exactly like this, similar. But the point being that throughout this bull market, at least, this weird-ass bull market, even the smallest move, the smallest, most petite outcome that we've seen from this environment, if we were to replicate it here, would take us to new all-time highs. That's a fact. That is a fact. That doesn't mean, that's not the same as me saying we're going to new all-time highs. That's a fact. No, that's not what I'm saying. Though I would bet a lot of money on it, and I am betting a lot of money on it. I very much believe that we are. I believe we are. But the fact is, since this low, in this exact same environment that we're in right now, the shortest, smallest move that we saw, if we were to replicate it here, would take us to new all-time highs. Hell of a bear market. Hit the like button, subscribe. I'll see you on the next one. This will go on record as the shortest bear market that's ever existed in Ethereum's history. Or I'm jumping on I'm on a limb here. I know I'm being a bit of a smartass here, but maybe, just maybe, when we're up here at new all-time highs, people will realize that this was never a bear market after all. And maybe we were just emotional. I think what happened in November was the market capitulating, which we see, guess what? The market capitulated here last time. And oh boy, did we rally, right? Capitulation's good, guys. I'll see you on the next one. Hit the like button, subscribe. Thank you all. Take care. Bye-bye.